Welcome to another weekly edition of our StaySmart newsletter and podcast, brought to you by Viciniti Corporate Housing, where we try to keep you updated on what we see happening in the news that we think is going to be relevant to you and to your company. Coming to you from the desert here in Tucson, Arizona. I'm here this week for the annual CHPA Conference, the Corporate Housing Association annual conference. If you're at the conference, please say hi to me. Let me know if you enjoy this podcast and newsletter that we put out each week. There's some good articles for you this week. The first one is about a Sports Illustrated resort that's going to be opening later this year. It's going to be a 200-room resort, obviously a sports-themed resort in Texas City, Texas. Kind of think it's interesting to see. There's been a lot of news about Sports Illustrated, so using that brand in hospitality sounds really interesting to me. It's something that I would probably check out. And then the next article is about Apartments by Marriott. So it's their serviced apartment brand that they've done in other parts of the world. But this is about kind of opening in the U.S. and parts of North America. They're going to be opening in Puerto Rico later this year. And then they have some projects in the U.S. In Detroit, a 92-room project. And then in St. Louis, a 50-room project that's going to be co-branded with a Sheraton by Midas Hospitality. So it'll be interesting to see how this service apartment brand works in the U.S. It's obviously been around for a long time in other parts of the world. It'll be interesting to see how this works in the U.S. And then the next two articles we have are kind of around car rentals for business. The first one is about EVs for business travel. Less than 20% of business travelers are using EV. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons why that. They surveyed business travelers, and logistics was one of them, and they talked about the short range of EVs, just the challenges. Myself, that travels a lot, uses rental cars and things like that. Just seems like another step in the logistics that you have to think about, and it just seems a little bit hasn't quite caught on yet. We did report on this podcast last year about Hilton rolling out EV charging stations at a lot of their hotels. And I think that'll help if the brand that you normally stay with is going to have an EV charging station, kind of know the distance from from the airport to your hotel and to where you're going to be going. I think that'll be helping. It just hasn't taken off yet. That's what I think is interesting. I think EVs obviously are coming, and it's going to be used in rental cars, but it's just for business travelers, it hasn't taken off yet. And then the next article, or the last article, is about Enterprise Mobility, formerly Enterprise Holding, EHI. So they had announced their expansion into Latin America and the Caribbean through kind of a franchise model, and then opening up some additional national and Alamo car rentals. So it's interesting to see Enterprise continuing to expand into Latin America and Caribbean. Some really good articles there this week. Like I said, I'm at the CHPA conference this week. If there's something that you want to hear us talk about, please come up and talk to me this week. I'd love to get your feedback, good or bad, about this conference, about the conference, about this newsletter. Let us know if there's anything that you would like to hear us talk about. So that's what I see transitioning this week. Take care, everyone.